love chores. And I think that says something about, I grew up on a farm where we worked as a family, and I had no paved pathway to medical school, but that was a dream. I love people. I love caring for people. And through my journey of that drive to become the best in my field, I have taken those talents to something called population health. I'm an internal medicine physician, and my whole training has been to get paid for better outcomes. So a lot like what Obamacare was touted as being, is to pay for the physicians to do a better job of taking care of America. And if that's what Obamacare was, I would be all for it. I have never touched a paper chart, and in the process have been on the leading side of change in a very stuck thinking of medicine. Several have asked me, how can you go from medicine to politics? I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to notice the difference. There is an amazing amount of politics that happens in the way your healthcare is delivered, the number of people that make choices about your healthcare that you don't even get consulted on, that if we try to implement and we don't have the permissions from the people, you will pay for it or you won't get it. In that same process, I have spent the last 18 months preparing for Obamacare. I'm an independent physician. I have a MacBook that I will take into the homes of patients, that I go into the shelters, that I see patients in jail. I take care of everything from mental health to addiction health, because I know that if I want the best outcomes for my patients with diabetes and high blood pressure and cancer, that you must take care of their addiction, you must take care of their mental health, you must really care about the whole person. And through the process of having the implementation of Obamacare by October 1 of 2014, I remember the moment in the spring where I felt suffocated, that they were going to ask me to do some of the things Obamacare asks me to do with your information. That I collect the information under this protected, private, intimate relationship between a patient and a doctor. And Obamacare will add 159 regulatory boards between me and the patient. And that's when I said, if not me, then who? To do something about caring for that relationship and keeping it protected. The amount of reports that I will send to the IRS, because this is a tax about you, so that in 10 years when they are allocating the care, when we're looking at who will get the dialysis units, there's only so many we can give out. They will look back to see, did your chart have depression in it? Did your chart have alcoholism in it? Did you have a time where your family was dysfunctional? And I'd like you to define that. How many ways we can define that? And so I said, I am going to do something about it. I have the most to lose. I have a love affair with healthcare, with medicine, with being there for patients. And there will be no such thing when this is fully implemented. So when I announced that I was considering the run, one of my dear friends said, "You can't be a Republican. You care for people." I said, and therein lies the problem with our politics in this country. That the labels that go behind these titles of Republican or Democrat, they shouldn't be, does it improve the process holistically for the patient, for the people, or does it hurt them? And I sit on the front lines of many of the entitlement programs, from food stamps to Medicaid to having other, your homes, their mortgages, housing development. And you'll see patients who have all 3 or 4 layers of entitlement programs, and they are getting their meth somehow. They are still stuck in a problem of prostitution in our state. Yes, it's here, with drug abuse, and I see it on the front lines. That when an entitlement program is set forth without an attrition, without a way to graduate them off of it, it is based in falsehoods, that it did not improve the process. There must be a way that they graduate off of these, because it only creates a level where the patient, in my case, becomes very dependent on the money and the process, and then stops having the drive to really be the all-American dream. And so I run for the United States Senate, where there is a big fight in the United States Senate. Healthcare will be decided in that group. It takes a lot for me to leave one of the things I love the most, which is being a physician. But if I could do it in a way that protects the right between the patient and the physician, the next 10 years will decide. This law is not yet fully written. For the first 3 years they've written it, and yet it has over 70% of the details that have not been written. In the people writing it, it should be those who care for America in a way that is truly in the front lines, on the front lines of the delivery process. And so I enter a race where the experts say I can't win, that I have never been before. But in medicine, we have a saying that the definition of an insane person is someone who continues to do the same thing over and over and over again and expects different results. And I think that's what happens when we send these groomed politicians who have been so far away from the front service lines, who have plenty of relationships with what it means to be courted by the lobbyist, or he who pays the most gets my vote. I am not like that. I have stood up to government, I have stood up for patients, and I will continue to stand for them because I am a mother. And I have 3 kids that I know need to see what America really looks like. And if we don't have people protecting that freedom, they won't know what America looks like either. So I ask for your support. Thank you.
There was a Revolutionary War flag that had the saying on it, "Don't tread on me." Would you be proud on a photo op to stand up beside a banner that said, "Don't tread on us"?
Don't tread on the American people. I think I understand your question. And there's been a quick learning curve for being in the front lines of all the questions coming toward me that I think I understand your question. Does anybody else understand this question? I am very proud to be an American, and I think the best way to show the next generation what that looks like is the examples we live by. And when we focus on who we are as a community, and who we are as a family, we can do that.
And a quick question.
Yeah, kind of the same question for you. I don't have to ask you why you're running, because you're up on your tippy toes. The passion is clearly there, and clearly you have the medical in-depth knowledge to fight this battle. But what will make you, other than that, are there any issues that you and Mike Rounds would differ upon? I'm sure he opposes the voluntary. Might not know as much about medicine, but there any issues?
Right. I've already signed the I will not raise taxes pledge. I think that's a very important part of what will come about. The Affordable Care Act is a tax. That's why I will make reports about your health care to the IRS. And I think that's the first very big place that says I will not raise your taxes. How much do you think you pay in taxes? What percentage of your income do you think you pay in taxes? The answer is he doesn't know, and neither does anybody. If you look at the way we are taxed, it is so complex and has so many different layers to the gas tax that you pay, the tax on food, the tax on income in some places, the tax your employer pays for the paycheck he gives you, he or she gives you, the land taxes, the property taxes, the boat taxes, the license plate taxes, that there are so many different ways that we are taxed that nobody understands how much we pay, and therein lies the deception. That we don't have a good understanding of how much we're taxed, and that's how they keep raising taxes. And it does take somebody to say, no more, quit this, find a way to spend that money and let us keep it. And there are some fantastic ideas out there, which I would love to vet more with South Dakota, including the fair tax, which gets us in the light of how are we going to pay taxes. It's not deceptive and hiding behind a label for about every way we are said to be American. So I think that is one place that I am very clear. I will not raise taxes, and that has one very clear difference.
Okay, thanks.
Well, thank you, Annette.
Right.
Do you think that, because there's been so much resistance to Obamacare, that's why they backed off on deadline dates?
Right.
That they're hearing from the people and not just the people, but several different states where they're being constitutionally challenged?
Well, I will tell you, you have never seen more changes in healthcare than I've had in the last 3 months. With the processes, I deal with a lot of Medicare, and that is who will suffer the greatest from this. They are already a federal program, and what they are implementing there is a foreshadow for what will come. The physicians that have said, I put my name in the hat, not just for city councilmen or for a statewide race, but for the federal, highest in the land, U.S. Senate race, because that's where the fight is being fought. There are 2 that have put their names in. One was from New Jersey, and one is from South Dakota. And it will represent the people much better because we are both independent, we are not within systems, and we're primary care, saying I had to prepare my clinic for the law of the land that was supposed to roll out October 1st. That will not happen. It conveniently will be delayed until after this election. Because many of the physicians that are preparing for this have said, this can't be. This can't be that you want me to share this information with the IRS. And the amount of process that it will take for my time and my clinic's time to just not break a rule. And so I think the pushback for the Affordable Care Act has been because for the last 3 years they've been writing just enough to start this part of it. And in that delivery, we see an attack on freedom, on privacy. And that is resonating with voters.
Thank you.
All right.